What's going on, YouTube? It's raining today. I'm a bricklayer. Can't work. Supposed to rain for 2 days. So anyhow, got the manifold off the driver's side, and definitely the harder side without a doubt. It's a lot more difficult. You got more crap in the way, and steering box and all that stuff, but it's doable. It's nothing you can't do. Again, I didn't take the heat shields off. I don't know why people do that, because it's just tons more aggravation that you don't need. They're not in the way of the factory bolts, and it'll come right off. Over there's a couple of heat shields that are not going to work with these headers unless I do some cutting and fixing on them. Right over here is my old exhaust. Man, that's rough. But I don't know my welding skills. I mean, I can weld, but the problem with these things is there's a lot of weird angles on here, and if I cut this sucker out, then I'm going to have to go up to about right along in here somewhere and then just run straight pipes through. I don't know. It necks down so much. Y'all see how small that is? This car, the first generation of these ZR1s, this is the most restrictive exhaust of the cars. So anyway, I'm gonna work on that today and see if I can figure it out. I got the header on. Wasn't that bad. It really went fairly well. You see that bottom bolt down there? That bottom bolt's a booger to get out of there, because it has that spacer on it, and it runs into that cover on the steering box right there. You'll have to take your little pry bar and pry that plastic down enough to get that bolt out. Rest of them went in pretty good. I want to show you one thing right here. I'm trying to do it without touching the other buttons on this phone. This is the third time I've tried to record this. Anyway, right here, y'all see that right there? Let me see if I can get a better view. Right there, see that? That fits in there like a glove. Problem is, it hit. I dry fitted the header, and it was hitting right here. So I had to mark it with a Sharpie and take a hammer and tap it in a little bit, but I think that's enough clearance. It should be okay. I got all the bolts back in. I ran out of header bolts. I've got, I think, 3 more on the bottom that I can get in. I haven't put them in yet, but I'm gonna have to pick some up. I've got my O2 sensor down there is hooked up. This side worked out. The other side, I had to build a harness for it, about 13 inches of wire. And I got it all hooked up and everything. Right there is your cam sensor, right here. Let me get another view right here. This right here is your cam sensor. Do not disturb it. Don't mess with it, because it's they're hard to come by, and they're expensive if you can even find them. So that's one of the parts for these cars that are kind of hard to get. I'll take you down underneath and show you a couple of things. Just hold on a second. Let me get under here. Oh. Anyhow, sorry for the shaking and stuff. Let's get under here. Okay. There's that stud. It came out with the nut on it, so it ran out of the block, so I had to put some Permatex on it and run it back up in there, but just make sure you clean it and run it back in there, because that is an oil galley and it'll leak. You see that header bolt there? That's one of the bottom ones. The one to the right, I can get it in. The next one to the right, I think I can get it in. And then I got one on this corner up here. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. It's kind of dark under here. That one up there, I think I can probably get that one in. So let me get a better light. There you go. There it is. That one right there. I can get that one in too. So I'm gonna put them all in. I just ran out of them. Worked pretty good though. Like I say, the O2 sensor's hooked up, and I'll show you the passenger side where I built this harness, so to speak. I just used crimps. I put high temp RTV on it to seal them, and I'll put a cover on it. I don't have anything to cover it with right now, and it goes on up here. Right up there, you guys can see that connector up there. A lot of guys will take those loose and try to reroute them because they're so hard to get to. But I've found if you take a couple of long, skinny screwdrivers, you stick one up in there to hold the female part, and you get the male part lined up, you can get it in there. Then you take a bigger screwdriver and just push the male part right into the female, and it'll click right in. Only takes you a couple of minutes. And the same way with getting it off, you can take that long screwdriver and flip that little locker and tug on it, and it'll come right out. I mean, you can't get your hands in there. You can hang that up. So, but I think it's going to be okay. I'll get me some covers. I looked yesterday at AutoZone in advance, and they had this spiral crap, and I don't want that. I don't know. It just didn't look like it was very, very good. Right there, you can see the passenger side header bolt. I got to buy some more header bolts and run out, so I think I'll get those two in without any problem. And right here, I'll show y'all. Y'all see how wet that is? I got an oil leak up here somewhere. I tried to tighten the oil pan bolts, but they're tight, so I don't know what it is. It's something on the front of the engine. I hope it's not the seal, the front seal. I'm gonna have to pull this engine out anyway, man. I gotta clean it up. The frame's dirty. This car's lived, as far as I know, it's lived in North Carolina its whole life. One more little thing I'll show you right here. You see that, this hose right here? This was in the way. It was hitting the header tube. See the rubber part right there? That was hitting the header tube. So I had to do a little bending on the metal parts of this to get it up out of the way. But I'm still going to have to put some kind of heat shield up there because of this rubber. Because there, right there's the tube. So it's only about 2.5 inches away or so. Let me get back out from under here. It's not bad. It's not as bad as you think, man. This side's definitely harder than the passenger side. And this little bolt right here, this is another one that you have to start first. Anytime you have a bend like that in your header, you want to start that one first, because if you go ahead and bolt this up, you'll never get that bolt in. So make sure you use that as one of the first ones that you put in. So I don't know if it's worth it. They say with headers and exhaust, it's about, I don't know, anywhere from 30 to 40 horsepower in these cars. You know, I guess it is worth it because, you know, you get a hot rod or a little car like this and you want it to perform the best it can. And an internal combustion engine ain't nothing but an air pump. And the more air it'll pump through it, you know, the better it's going to run. It's a pretty cool car, man. That engine is off the hook. Not hard to work on. Now, as far as doing cams and timing chains and stuff like that, man, I don't know if I'd try it. That might be out of my range. But and to get any more performance out of this thing, I'd have to go with a bigger throttle body. A lot of guys will port these. They'll have them ported so to breathe better. And your injector housing down here, that can be ported. That's called a top-end porting. But then, see, you got a bottleneck right here where it goes into the heads. The second generation of these cars had 405 horsepower, and they had a little bit of different head work done on them from the factory and stuff like that, you know. And then there was actually a third generation of this engine coming around. And that's when GM decided to put the brakes on it. And I think the third generation was like 575 horsepower from the factory back in the mid-90s. So it was bad to the bone. It didn't have these. It had them, but they were just one. They weren't double like this. They were just one big one. You know, there's 4 on each side. There is a couple of those engines alive. They destroyed a lot of the parts, but I guess some of the engineers kept enough stuff to almost build one, you know, using a second generation engine block and that sort of thing. And they also went to 4-bolt mains. This one's a 2-bolt main as far as I know. I don't know if it's ever been changed or not, but I think the first gens were all 2-bolt mains. But you know, it's a pretty cool car, man. You know, this car holds the 24-hour world speed endurance record for a mass-produced production car to this day. There's a list of other manufacturers that's tried to break that record, and every one of them failed. And it broke a 50-year-old record from a car that had an airplane engine in it that did it. And it still holds that record. It holds a 5,000 kilometer record and a 5,000 mile top speed record. So this car, you know, it's not real quick in the quarter mile. I see on YouTube where guys are, you know, they're racing these cars and, you know, built ones are in the 11s, you know, like that. But this car never was meant to be quick like that. This car here, you can set it on cruise control at 180 miles an hour and drive cross country. You know, and not only is that about this engine. It's about the whole engineering aspect of the C4 Corvette. They catch a lot of crap out in the world. You know, a lot of people don't like them. They say they're junk. But I'll tell you what, it's a tough car, man. You know, I don't see no C7 or no C6 breaking that world speed endurance record. You know, I don't think a pushrod engine could do it. I think they'd fly all to hell before, you know, I mean, you think 24 hours running in 100 and mid 90 mile an hour range. Ain't gonna happen. That's my old Pontiac engine right there. Quarter mile, this engine right here would smoke this Corvette, no problem. But, you know, top end speed ain't gonna happen, especially for long distances, you know. But anyway, you can get a lot of power out of these motors, you know, with a little massaging, and it's expensive though. You know, going into that engine is expensive, and so mine will probably stay like it is until I hit the lottery. Anyway, just want to post that real quick. Y'all have a good one. Thanks for watching.